Hey everyone, this is Mary from SVG Cuts, and I'm here today with a super cool haunted manor, as you can see. And it's probably the largest, most exciting paper project I've ever come up with, and I hope you're as excited about it as I am. And I think the cool thing about this is that obviously it looks spooky and haunted because it has Halloween paper and it's black and it's gray. But other than that, there's really nothing like spooky about it. It's really just a big Victorian house. So that means if you wanted to make it for Christmas, you could use Christmas papers and Christmas colors. Or if you wanted to make like a really pretty summer house, you could, make it white and pink or white and green. And I even think that since people paint Victorian houses all kinds of different colors, you could really do like any kind of colors. You could make it patriotic with like some little banners and stuff. So you can really go wild, and I cannot wait to see all the different ways that you guys can make this house look. So as you can see, the top comes off and there is a little bottom on the inside here. So if you wanted to stick, a little surprise in there, you could, or just leave it empty. You could put a little electronic battery-powered tea light candle in there, which would look cool. It would kind of illuminate the little windows. And then in the back, as you can see, there's a little flap here, which comes open so that you can put whatever you want inside, whether it's maybe some battery-powered lights or some electronic tea light candles, or even a little surprise if you really wanted to use it as a gift box, you could, but I think it's just a gift all in itself. So if you wanted to put, some little lights in there, just make sure that maybe don't leave it unattended for too long, just to be on the safe side, even though it's battery-powered. So to go along with our house, we've got 4 kind of simple cards that are just nice vintage inspired Halloween themed cards. And of course, as always, you can use these elements, separately on other projects too, so you can get nice and creative. So the paper that I used just came out from Graphic 45, which is one of my favorite paper companies. And they do a really awesome job picking out just their color palettes and all this vintage imagery and just all kinds of stuff. Everything they do, I just love, love, love. So that was really fun to work with. It's called Steampunk Spells, and they were kind enough to send me a nice little goodie package full of all kinds of cool stickers and everything. And like I've said before, I think you could just make a really simple card and just stick one of these really pretty stickers on it, and you'd have an awesome card in like 2 minutes. So I've got all my pieces cut out for the house here. As you can see, there's quite a few pieces. So it's quite the project, but it's really not a big deal if you take it one step at a time. So I'm going to show you how that goes together right now. So let's get started. So I've got quite a few pieces laid out here, and I went ahead and I already put my upper siding and my lower siding and my tower siding and my shutters and my windows. I went ahead and put all that on so that while I'm working on this, you can see where everything goes. So it's pretty self-explanatory to see where the window frames and the shutters and everything go. So it's not difficult to figure that out. So before you get started doing what I'm about to do here, you want to go ahead and put all these on. Like you want to put your siding on the top and the bottom and the tower, and you want to go ahead and put your shutters and your windows on. And since I'm using black paper, it looks kind of creepy and cool if you take a white ink pad and just kind of messily just kind of rub it on the edges of the black. That's just a little tip if you're doing anything black for Halloween like that. So also what you want to do is go ahead and put your vellum behind your windows. So it's also real clear where that goes because it fits right behind the windows on anything that has a window. And also on my tower piece, there's a little one here. So I've got these all laid out in a row, and I saved one shutter here to show you exactly how I put those together. So this is a long shutter, which means it goes on the bottom because the longer ones go on the bottom. So all I'm going to do is put a super tiny little dot of glue up in that top corner and just hold it for a second while it dries. And then I can take my white ink pad, since I was talking about it. See, it just kind of adds a nice little creepy touch. And then I can just glue it right on. Or if you want some dimension, you can use some glue dots And that just goes right on the side next to the window. So if you want to make it look even creepier, you could make those kind of crooked. I think that would be cute too. I just went and made everything straight and elegant, but crooked is creepy too. So also, I want to go ahead and put my little windows, my little dormer windows in place. And I went ahead and glued this frame on the front. This is actually two separate pieces. This little window frame is just glued right onto my window. So I went ahead and folded all of the little scored lines. And it's really pretty simple. I'm just going to glue down these tabs to form the shape of the window with just a little bit of glue. And since I'm working with black, I don't know if you're also using black right now, but it's kind of more tricky with black because if the glue comes out, you can really see it on the black paper. So I'm being a little extra careful here. And I'm just forming my window like this. And then I'm also going to bend these side tabs all forward like this so that they're all coming out towards me. And then I'm just going to put some glue on all of these side tabs, just carefully here. And I'm kind of making a mess with my glue, but it's okay, it's not the end of the world. So this one, this just comes right up from the bottom, and I'm going to just poke it through a little bit, and then I'm going to focus on the bottom tab and line that up first and hold it, get it into place. And then I'm going to move up to the next two and push those into place. I'm going to wipe off my glue here. And then move up to the next little section until you've got it in place. And there's my window. So now I've got all my side pieces laid out here. And let's just take a minute and look at what's what here. Now obviously this one is obviously the back, so I'm going to put that all the way over here. Then the next one, it kind of looks, these look very similar, except you'll notice this one has no tabs on it, and this one has tabs along the left side here. So you could figure this out because you can see where there are tabs and there are no tabs, but this one is going to go next to the back. And then this one here has this slanted part here, which is going next to the other side. Then I've got my two tower pieces here. And then I've got the other side piece because this roof is slanting this way. And then the final side here. So let's start by gluing. I'm going to pick up this piece here with this slant like this. And to start with, all I'm going to do is put glue on this one long tab here. I think it's going to be easier if we get the sides together before we start to worry about the roof. So I just want to line that up as nicely as possible. And then I can go ahead and take my roof piece, or my tower piece, I mean, and I've got all these scored areas folded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tower piece here and put glue on just this tab for starters. So I'll just make a nice little area of glue there. And then I will do my best to line it up as perfectly as possible. And the way that this is going to work is it's going to get closed up here like this. And then later we're going to fold this bottom piece up kind of like the bottom of a box, and that's going to get glued on the inside. So next I'm going to put glue along this whole long tab along the side of the face of my tower. And I just want a nice little thin line of glue, hopefully not too close to the edges, but close enough to the edges. And I can go ahead and glue that into place like this. Okay. So at this point, we might as well go ahead and close up this bottom part here. And if I was to put glue on it right now and then kind of shove it in there, I would probably smear glue on my window and it might make a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to kind of get it into place, and then I'm going to go from the inside and I'm going to put my glue on from the inside. So go ahead and put glue on all 3 of those tabs on the inside and close up the bottom. So as you can see, the box part of my tower here is in place, and now all I'm going to do is put some glue, my glue is really going crazy over here, on all 4 of these top tabs, and I'm going to bend it around on all 4 sides just to strengthen up the top. So you can go ahead and put glue on all 4 of those top tabs and bend them over. So now that my tower is assembled, I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this long tab here, which first I'm going to fold the opposite way because that's how it's going to be going when it goes together. So I just want a nice thin little line here, and then I want these tabs out of the way here. Out of the way, tabs. And then I can just stick this like so. So it's in place. I just need to push it down, make sure that it's behaving properly and all the glue is taking hold in there. So I'm actually going to put it over on the side of my table so I have a flat area to press down with my finger. Okay, so we're starting to take shape, and like I said, we're going to just ignore the roof for a minute and get the body of the house going in the right direction and get it taking shape. So now I've got the same exact thing almost on the other side here. So I'm going to put glue along this whole long tab on the side of my tower, and then I'm going to grab this piece and put that right in place. And it kind of helps if I bend my roof forward, that way I can really grab the whole nice flat surface and make sure that my glue is holding where it should be. Okay, so now I'm just working my way around. Next I'm going to take the next piece here and I'm going to put glue on this long side tab of my house, and I'm going to get the next piece here into place, move some of those pieces out of the way if that helps. The only reason this is a little tricky is because I can't really lay this down on a flat surface. It's kind of up in the air. So I'm just having to take a little extra time to position it while the glue is drying. But if I flip it around and hang it off my table, I can have a little flat surface here, which helps get it in the right place. So now I can go ahead and put the back on, and again just on this one long side tab here, and I can put this. I think anytime you can lay it down flat, it's going to help. I think that's the most challenging part of this project is just having to glue things together that are not always laying down on your table. That can be a little tricky. So there we go. And now let's just close her up by gluing the back onto the final side tab here. This kind of reminds me of this Lego castle that I had when I was a kid that was super fun. It was about this size. And I used to play for hours with my little castle guys. Except my mom would always put together the Lego house for me. I guess I was spoiled. Okay, so that's pretty much in position. It's just, I need a flat surface here to press down from the inside. And okay, so now we can start to put the roof together. And before I finish the roof, I'm actually going to put the bottom on because it kind of helps the whole thing take shape a little bit to have the bottom in place. But first, let's just start to put a lot of these guys together. And as you can see on the side of the tower here, depending on the way the light is hitting it, you might be able to see that there are some little score lines going up at a little slope right here. And those are there to show you where to put this piece so that you get it in the right spot. Otherwise, you'd be kind of guessing, and guessing is not always fun because you might not guess perfectly. How could you guess perfectly? So I'm going to start by putting some glue on these tabs over here, on all three of them. And I'm going to try to be careful not to get my glue all over the side. And I will just put these into place. And now this is probably the other most challenging part. So once you got this, you are totally good to go because the rest is very straightforward. And that wasn't too bad, was it? Let's go ahead and do the other side since we're on a roll here. And you know, I'm only putting glue on the top 3 tabs. I'm just ignoring the little tiny tab that's on the bottom because it's so small. It's kind of just there to seal it up and block the light. If it's not glued down, it really does not matter. Okay, so I need to make sure the light is hitting this the right way so I can see my score lines, and just push that into place as best as I can. As long as it's pretty close to those little score lines, then I think you're going to be all set. So now I've got the hardest part done up here on the front, and all that is left to do is just glue the sides of the roof together for this, this segment that we're doing here. So again, I don't need to worry about the very bottom little tiny tab down there, just these top 3 tabs. And I'm just kind of dabbing some glue. I'm not really being that careful because if I get my face up in there, you guys can only see the back of my head. Okay, so I'm going to start with the top tab because I find that when you glue the top one here first, the other ones kind of just pop right into place. Oops. As long as you hold it long enough for it to dry. So this same little principle here applies all the way around. So you just want to do this same thing on the other corners of the house. So I've got this 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and then I'll catch up to you there. So my house is really starting to take shape now. It looks a little crooked because I don't have the bottom or the top on to help hold it in place. So next, let's put the top on, which as you can see just goes like this. And I've already got my decorative panel on it and everything. So it's going to be glued on these 3 inside tabs as well as all these top tabs here. So in order to kind of glue it all at once without getting glue everywhere, I want to like extremely fold these tabs over so that when I slide it in here, I don't wipe glue all over the tower. Although that would not be the end of the world. But let's put some glue on these 3 tabs, and I'm going to work kind of quickly because I have a lot of tabs that I want to put glue on, and I don't want them to start drying before I get a chance to get my pieces into place. So I'm going to set that down, and then I'm going to put glue all over these top tabs, going all the way out to the corners of the tabs so that it doesn't start coming apart at the corners. And if any of your tabs are kind of angled in, maybe pull them up just a little bit so that the glue really gets to where it's going. And I'm going to kind of squeeze my tower as I put my top into place here. And I'm not going to worry about those interior tabs just yet. I just want to line up the top pieces real nice first. And then once those are lined up, I'm going to flip it over and work up from the inside on the bottom and make sure that my tabs are getting glued. So I've got it positioned real nice. If you kind of like feel the corners, you can tell that it's in place. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to make sure that all those tabs are touching in the right places. And if you need to put your project over on the side of a table to give yourself a flat surface to press down on, you can do that. I think that helps a little bit. So just make sure those are all in place, and then we'll move on. So now, in order to move on to the next step, I'm going to put the bottom in place. And obviously, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to put glue on all of these surface tabs here, and then I'm just going to put this in place, and I'll bend it in and make sure everything's lined up real nice. So go ahead and put glue on all those tabs and pop your bottom into place. And I think it's going to be easy to kind of start from the back side and get that lined up first, and then we'll line up the sides, and then we'll line up the front as the glue is drying. And as usual, I just want to make sure that my glue is going all the way out to the corners of my project. So I'm lining up the back here first, and I just want it to kind of start to dry so that I can let go of it without it coming apart, and then I can open up that flap in the back and I can reach in and push my tabs down. So we just want to guide it as much as possible. And okay, so I did a pretty good job there. It's pretty much perfect, go me. So I'm going to flip it over and open it up and push down on these tabs from the inside. So we're getting pretty close to being all done with our house here. Next, I'm going to take my tower roof, and this is extremely straightforward and easy. I'm going to do the same exact thing on all 4 sides, one at a time. I'm just going to put glue on these 3 tabs, not this one just yet, and I'm going to start with the furthest one first, because again, once this one really gets a hold and is in place and is dry, the other 2 really just fall into place. So I can work my way up 1 tab at a time here, and my glue is kind of visible, but it's okay. And then just put some glue on this little guy here and fold that into place also. So just go ahead and do that on the other 3 sides. So here's my little tower roof. I slid it right on top of my box. And then at this point, if you want to put your roof panels on, you can. And these all go on in the same way, so I'm just going to do one to give you an idea. And I'm just going to put a thin little layer of glue on the whole entire thing, and then I just want to do my best to center it where it goes. And you can't really get it wrong. It's really obvious where each one goes because it's like, you know, obviously it fits perfectly like a little puzzle. So just go ahead and put your roof panels on. So next, let's do the base that the house sits on. You might not have even noticed in the photo, but it's actually sitting on a little base that's a little bit larger than it. So it kind of creates the look of like stairs, and it just finishes it off and makes it look really nice. So for that, we've got two large pieces here that are identical. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 strips like this. And your machine has cut a little number on each of these. And I went ahead and I took my white marker and I darkened it in just for this video so that you could see the numbers. So all we want to do is glue them one to the other, going from 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is pretty darn straightforward. So I'm just going to glue number 3 to number 2 here. And number 4 onto number 3. And you definitely want to make sure that your numbers are all on the same side as each other. But that seems pretty, I'm sure that's how you have it going already, but just in case. And now I can take my long strip here and close it up by putting glue on this final side tab and gluing number 4 into place. So I gotta give this a second to dry here before I let go of it so it doesn't come up out of alignment. And now I can go ahead and really bend all these over, and these guys go inwards, and let's bend all these over so that we're totally ready for our larger pieces here. And as you could probably guess, all I'm going to do is put glue on all of these tabs, obviously just on one side here first. And if you feel more comfortable going 1 or 2 or 3 tabs at a time or something, you can totally go for it. I personally find it easiest to put glue on all of them at once and just position my piece just all in one fell swoop. As long as I get my glue on quickly enough so it doesn't dry before I'm ready. That's the good thing about this glue, is it dries quickly, but it gives you enough time to do what you gotta do. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab either of these pieces, and I'm just lining up one corner at a time here. And I've got the bottom in place, kind of going corner to corner and adjusting it as necessary. And it's starting to fall into place. And now the cool thing is that this will kind of hold it in place for the other side. So the only other thing to be aware of after we flip it over and push down on those tabs, then the only other thing to take note of here is that we kind of want these tabs going upwards. Maybe after I put my glue on, I'm just going to quickly bend them up a little bit just to make sure that my glue is ready to do its job. Because if, like let's say this tab was like bent all the way down, if I put my paper on, it's not really going to touch it. So I'm going to flip all these up a little bit once I get my glue on. And as I always say, I just want to get my glue all the way out to the corners. And that is good enough. So let's make sure our glue is going to take hold. And same thing, just kind of one corner at a time, although it's a lot easier this time around. So there is our base of our house. And now we can just decide which side of it looks better, because we want the better looking side to be on the top. And I've got a little mix up over there, so I want this to be the top. So I'm just going to grab my house and I'm going to put glue all over the bottom, kind of all the way out to the corners, but not so far that the glue is going to come squirting out the side, because then we're going to see it, which I would like to avoid if possible. And then I just want to center it as best I can. Wait, okay, I need to not glue it down first.
Why?
Oh wait, no, it's fine, it's fine. Sorry. So then I just want to center it as best I can here, right onto the base. So I'm just kind of peeking around all the sides to see if I need to scooch it over or scooch it back or anything, and I don't. We're all set. Okay, so now let's take a look at our porch, and then we are almost done. So for the porch, we're going to end up with two pieces that look like this. And this one I'm going to put on the bottom, even though they're identical. But that's going to be on the bottom. And then we've got the same exact thing that I'm going to make right now, which is going to go up on the top. So to do that, I've got two identical pieces like this, and then I've got two strips with a 1 and a 2. And again, your machine will cut those numbers into your piece, but I went ahead and darkened them in with a marker to make it easier to see in this video. So you want to make sure that your number 1 and your number 2 are on the same side, and by that I mean my 1 is on this side of my piece and my 2 is on this side. So again, I will just put glue on these side tabs, and this is really the same exact principle as the base that we just did, it's just smaller. So we'll just do the same exact thing and put this guy together using the same method that we did just a minute ago for the base. Kind of get it into shape, and we'll put glue on all these tabs, and we'll grab one of those flat pieces and glue it right onto the top. So now I've got two pieces like this, and I'm going to put glue on this back part here as well as on the bottom. And you know, this would probably stay in place without any glue, so if you're kind of worried about making a mess with your glue, because it's a little tricky to get it in here. So what I want to do is I want to slide it right in, being careful not to smear my glue on anything. Okay, so the bottom stoop is in place, and now this goes up here, but we're not exactly sure where without our columns. So let's make our columns, and for those we've got 8 pieces that look like this, and I went ahead and I started gluing them together. They go together in 2 groups of 4. So I've already got 3 here in my hand, and all you need to do is put glue on the 2 side tabs and just glue them in a row. So just kind of do one at a time, line them up as best you can, and then go ahead and close it up like this. So it's a tiny little shape, so it's a little challenging, but it really does kind of just fall into place. I got ink and glue all over my hands. It's definitely spooky. I'm gonna be scaring some people later. Okay. So, you know, mine's a little crooked, but hey, who's really gonna notice? Plus, it's a haunted house, so if things are crooked, it's probably a good thing if you make a little mistake or something. Okay, so let's take this off, and I just want to glue this down just right on the corner. So I need to kind of press down and hold it while it dries for a couple seconds. And then I already made the other one, so I can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So you're gonna have to hold it for a minute, so just do what I just did on both sides with your columns to get those in place, and then we're gonna slide the top of the roof in, and we'll put the front door on, and we will be done. So next, to put the top of this on, all I want to do is put glue on here and on here, only on these two parts, and then I want to load up kind of a lot of glue on the tops of my two columns. I want them to be nice and full of glue, and then I will carefully slide this on without smearing it, and then I want to get, you know, down to eye level with it and kind of slide it into place as I get it touching the top of the columns also. So the hardest part about that is just kind of not smearing glue everywhere, and you can adjust your columns and maybe just hold them while they dry for a few minutes. Then, now that that bottom part is in place, we can go ahead and put our front door on. You can just glue it, or if you have some dimensional pop dots, it looks kind of nice if it's kind of popped out a little bit. And then that is it, except for one more note, the siding on my house is a nice touch, I think, because Victorian houses pretty much always have siding. So really any kind of striped embossing folder I think would look nice. The one that I used is Notebook by Sizzix, and it's kind of distressed and kind of grungy, which works really well for my haunted house. And I also did not make them all straight. I purposely kind of skewed them because it's a haunted house. So you can do that if yours is haunted, or make them nice and straight if it's not. So there you have it, really amazing, awesome, big house, and I hope you have fun making it. And if you do, you'll definitely have to share pictures with us on our Facebook wall, or in our forum, or on, you know, Pinterest, or your blog, or Instagram, or really anywhere. So whether you make it look Halloween like I've done, or if you make it look, you know, like a Christmas house, or winter, or summer, or birthday, or just anything. I can't wait to see what you do. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and happy crafting.
Learn more by visiting www.svgcuts.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and watch all of our crafty videos on YouTube. It's a world of crafty content with you in the middle. SVGcuts.com, inspiring you to live creatively and beautifully.